Take a moment, my kid, and pay close attention to what I have to say. I need all of your attention for the next few minutes because something important is happening in your life. I know why you were drawn here, even if you don't. Sometimes the regular rhythm of your day is interrupted by heaven, because your heart requires guidance before moving forward. For you, this is one of those times. Stay here with me, then don't hurry off. Allow each word to convey its intended meaning to you. What I am going to disclose will push you, rouse you, and get you ready for what needs to happen next. You will comprehend why this moment has the potential to alter your life's trajectory if you pay close attention to the very end. Please take a time to slow down and stay with me, my child. I am aware that your thoughts have been racing today. You've been pondering about obligations, anxieties, unresolved discussions, and urgent issues in your life. Life has a tendency of taking up all of your attention to the point where you hardly have any left over. However, here you are, and I want you to grasp something clearly and softly. This moment did not just happen to be in front of you. You might think that you were just curious and opened something on your screen. Or perhaps you were just killing time. Perhaps you were trying to find anything to divert your attention for a little while. However, I observe more than just the outward manifestation of your behavior. I am aware of the journey that led you here, and I can see your heart. I've seen you carry more than those around you are aware of. You don't talk about many of your difficulties since you wish to avoid burdening other people. You now know how to go through the day, while keeping things inside that you hardly ever express verbally. I am aware of the times you lie awake contemplating your future. When the day gets heavier than anticipated, I see the little sighs you release. I have paid close attention to every aspect of your life. Even the things you think are insignificant don't really matter. You don't realize how much I care about you, and as a result of that love, I occasionally enter your typical routine in unexpected ways. This is one of those times. I am not interrupting you to point out your shortcomings or offer criticism. I am interrupting to get your attention before you lose sight of what really makes your life meaningful. There are times when I gently nudge you in the heart, and sometimes I get closer in order for you to take a moment to listen. I am doing that with you at the moment. As you read these lines, you could experience a slight stirring inside, something that causes you to pause for a moment. That emotion is not arbitrary. It's the subtle awareness that I am reaching out to you. I am not under pressure, I am here with patience. You are important to me in ways that the world cannot quantify, which is why I am here. Your existence isn't made up of a string of haphazard, meaningless days. You were purposefully made with a heart that is capable of empathy, introspection, and development. Sometimes it's hard to remember that because of the cacophony surrounding you, veracity. The deeper understanding of who you really are may gradually be obscured by your obligations, disappointments, and other people's expectations. I don't want you to become distracted by that cacophony. I therefore ask that you stay here with me for a short period in a soft yet clear voice. I want you to take a deep breath and let your thoughts calm. This message is not something you should ignore like any other piece of information. Consider this as a private discussion between us, a time when you are permitted to put aside the stress of your everyday existence. Additionally, keep in mind that you are not alone in this world. I've been close to you all along. There were moments when you wondered if your prayers were heard at all, even during the seasons when you doubted whether I was paying attention. Even the words you murmured in your head were audible to me. I have never lost your voice. That's why I am talking to you now calmly and carefully, reminding you of the link. It has always been present between us. You may not be aware of how long I've been waiting for this kind of time with you. I respect your heartbeat and the decisions you make, not because I am aloof. I never try to get into your life by force. Love doesn't force its way in, it awaits transparency. It waits for you to be ready to listen without hurrying off. You've stopped long enough for me to talk to you more clearly today, and I want you to realize how crucial that moment was. Your existence has been traveling swiftly. Additionally, as life passes rapidly, you may begin to live more on the surface of your days than from the core of your being. You finish assignments, reply to messages, fulfill commitments, and transition from one duty to another. It can appear to be progress from the outside. However, there are moments when you experience a silent emptiness that is difficult to describe. I can see how you feel. I am aware of how serious it is. You've attempted to occupy that area with productivity, activity, and occasionally with distractions that provide momentary respite. In and of themselves, none of those things were incorrect. All you were doing was attempting to manage life's stresses as best you could. However, a deeper part of your heart still yearns for something more stable and rooted. The deeper part of you understands that your existence is supposed to be about more than just moving about a lot and feeling tired all the time. I designed your heart to live in connection with me, not in constant distance from the source of your peace. You start to experience a subtle strain within yourself when that connection even slightly deteriorates. You may refer to it as weariness or stress, but it's usually your soul telling you that you need to be close to me once more. For this reason, I refer to this moment as an interruption, but not one that negatively impacts your life. Consider it more like a tender tap on the shoulder from someone who genuinely cares about you. I want you to take a moment to gaze up and recall the source of your true power. You don't have to let every wave in your life carry you away, even though everything around you will keep moving. I want you to rediscover a stability that is independent of the situation. When you give yourself permission to re-establish an honest connection with me, that steadiness starts. You don't need to act like you know everything. I am already aware of your areas of uncertainty. I am aware of the locations where your self-assurance has been undermined. I am aware of the times when you doubt your ability to move in the proper path. I am not put off by any of that. It just encourages me to move closer to you. Allow yourself to experience the silent comfort that you are not alone on your path as you sit with these words. Even though you are still unable to see it clearly, I am still guiding you as your life continues to unfold. I want to show you more about your life in the future, so stay with me as we talk. For now, just stay here with me and give your heart a little rest. My kid, I am aware that your life frequently moves at a fast pace and that you are accustomed to quickly switching between things. However, you were drawn here and asked to stay by something within of you. You might have detected a hint of severity in the current environment. It is neither pressure nor dread. Even when your mind are still catching up, your spirit can sense the weight of importance. When I talk about urgency, I am not talking in the frenetic manner that the world frequently does when it expects that you respond right away. I have a different sense of urgency. It is the type that results from nurturing. The kind that arises when you see something on the path ahead of you and want to be aware of it before you go too far. I am aware of the recent course your life has taken. I've observed the choices you've been thinking about, the anxieties you keep to yourself, and the queries that spring to mind when the day is calm enough for introspection. I am not concerned about any of that because I doubt you. I love you so much that it worries me. And love reaches out when it perceives someone straying into tiredness or bewilderment. I am doing just that with you right now. I am reaching out to beg you to take a close look at what's going on in your own heart. Don't ignore your inner intuition that something significant is taking place. Lean into it instead. Instead of straying to the next distraction, keep your focus on me. Moments like these are recognized by your spirit even before they are comprehended by your mind. When things are tough in life, your faith and hope are rooted in that same peaceful awareness within you. Pay close attention to that location. He is not yelling, and you are not compelled to comply. It merely asks you to take a moment to reflect on your life. Right now, I want you to take that invitation seriously. Put an end to the tendency to ignore more profound ideas simply because they bring you discomfort. Give yourself permission to sit with them for a moment. You have been experiencing mild tension in certain aspects of your life. It can manifest as restlessness at times. Sometimes it manifests as weariness that is not entirely alleviated by sleep. Sometimes it manifests as a persistent feeling that something about your direction has to be adjusted. You might have attempted to ignore such emotions since confronting them would have forced you to take your time and think. I can appreciate that reluctance. You are asked to look inward during reflection, and doing so can make you feel vulnerable. But honesty is always the first step toward improvement. Therefore, I am asking you to join me in taking a bold move right now. Examine your life with compassion and honesty. Take note of the behaviors that have been depleting your energy. Take note of the thoughts that persist despite your desire for them to go away. Take note of your inner desires that you seldom express out loud. These factors are all important because they influence the course you are on. I am referring to the opportunity you have when I say that this time is urgent to refocus your focus on what really counts right now. Whether you stop or not, life will go on. However, you might travel a great distance without understanding how far you have strayed from the tranquility your heart requires if you never stop to consider where you are heading. I don't want you to experience that. Your life has too much significance to be lived in ignorance. For this reason, I kindly request that you stay here and think about what I am putting in front of you. Allow this to be the moment when you start making payments. Greater awareness of your heart's deeper movements. I am not asking you to figure out everything today. All I am asking is that you start listening once more. Now take another breath with me and let's have a somewhat more in-depth discussion. You've been dealing with obligations that occasionally prevent you from reflecting on your personal life. Your attentiveness is required for work. People rely on you. You are surrounded by expectations from all sides. You have made an effort to keep going despite those demands. Without revealing your occasional fatigue to others, that effort is evident to me. I am aware of the perseverance required to continue helping others when one's own spirit is at its lowest. However, there's something about you that I want you to know. The amount of work you perform in a single day does not determine your worth. Your value is not determined by how well you fulfill other people's expectations. In my opinion, those concepts do not define you. Even though they may have influenced your self-perception for a long time, I view you in a new way. Before I see your accomplishments, I see your heart. I see your genuineness, your empathy, and your determination to persevere despite the challenges of life. These attributes are considerably more important than the never-ending to-do list. For this reason, I am asking you to take a break from the never-ending pressure to perform and instead establish a stronger connection with your life's core. Take a moment to bring yourself closer to me in your mind. Tell me the truth about how you've been feeling. You don't require formal phrases or elegant prayers. Even if your thoughts seem disorganized, I can understand them. Tell me what worries you. Tell me about the dreams you still harbor in your heart. Give yourself permission to release the areas where you are unsure. This kind of transparency makes room for peace to flourish once more. You start to feel the relief that comes from not having to bear everything alone when you open yourself to me. I want you to feel that sense of relief more frequently. That's one of the reasons I called your attention here right now. I am reminding you that there should be quiet times in your life where your spirit establishes contact with the source of your power. Even the toughest person eventually grows weary in the absence of those moments. I am now extending an invitation to you. Don't rush out of this discussion. As you go through the remainder of the day, let it continue to influence your thinking. As you think about what we are talking about, pay notice to the little changes that are taking place within you. When you feel your mental strain building later today, take a minute to reflect on the fact that you can return to this state of peaceful awareness at any time. In those instances, talk to me once again. When decisions seem unclear, seek advice. In the areas where your comprehension seems constrained, invite my knowledge. You are not supposed to solve every problem by yourself. I am here to walk along you, to gently lead you, and to remind you that there are still opportunities in your life that you may not be fully aware of. Keep your mind open to that option. Keep listening as we proceed in this discussion, because I want to tell you more about what I see in your life and the path that lies ahead. I want you to know something crucial about yourself, my child. Many of the people in your life just get a glimpse of your true self. They see the version of you that shows up in discussions at work or in your daily responsibilities. Only a little part of your inner life is visible in those exchanges. There is a lot deeper tale beneath that surface. Additionally, I fully understand that tale. I have witnessed both the times when your self-assurance was great and the times when it subtly vanished. Even when you needed encouragement yourself, I have witnessed the effort you made to support others. You tend to shield others from your personal hardships because you don't want them to be concerned about you. A giving heart is the source of that instinct. However, there are instances when you end up carrying more weight than anyone is aware of. I see those unseen burdens. I witness the evenings when your mind is overflowing and it's difficult to fall asleep. When you ask whether you are headed in the correct direction, I see the recurring questions. I can see your thoughts working silently behind your eyes even when you grinning in public. I don't know anything about that inner life. I am aware of the anxieties you seldom express out loud, and the aspirations you are reluctant to follow because you are unsure of their likelihood of success. Remember that I understand you when you feel misinterpreted by those around you entirely. I have never once been unable to see your emotions. I have witnessed every stage of your life, even the ones you would prefer to forget. When disappointment abruptly entered your story, I saw you. When someone's remarks caused a wound that took time to heal, I saw you. I witnessed you when your ideas failed and you had to muster the courage to start over. Despite your uncertainty about the future, you persisted in pushing forward despite all of those experiences. That you may not know how important perseverance is. In circumstances where you choose to persevere, many individuals would have given up. I really appreciate the calm resolve you possess. You may not consider yourself strong, but I see strength in the way you persevere through life's challenges. I also want you to acknowledge that strength. Take a time to consider the path you have already taken. Think about the challenges you've encountered and how you overcame them to proceed. Those were not pointless struggles. They molded your personality and increased your empathy for those in pain. When I consider your life, I see someone who has been sharpened by difficulties rather than crushed by them. That viewpoint is important because it shows you the real self. The mistakes you worry about or the uncertainties that occasionally cross your thoughts do not define you. The development that has occurred within you defines who you are as you dealt with such situations. I want the truth to be held tenderly in your heart. When you start to question your worth once more, keep in mind that I view you with compassion and love. Every brave moment that may have gone undetected by others is part of your life, in my opinion. Nothing you've gone through has been in vain. I want you to think about how frequently you criticize yourself more harshly than anyone else as we continue our discussion. Sometimes your thoughts repeat instances in which you think you could have behaved differently. You reflect on missed opportunities or choices that did not turn out the way you had hoped. If you let those reflections define who you are, they might become burdensome. I want you to break free from that vicious cycle of self-criticism. Learning is the source of growth, not always condemning oneself for unchangeable circumstances. You're still learning about life. Additionally, learning always involves trial and error. Rather than focusing on your beliefs went wrong, I encourage you to consider the lessons you learned from those situations. Your patience, resilience, and understanding of others have all grown as a result of each struggle. Your current self is being shaped by that information. Allow that awareness to lighten your mental dialogue with yourself. When your mind starts criticizing you once more, stop it and focus on compassion instead. Instead of passing harsh judgment on yourself, treat yourself with care and honesty as I do. That change in viewpoint will progressively reduce the amount of weight you bear. Additionally, I want you to keep in mind that your life is still developing. Many of your current worries stem from attempting to forecast future events that have not yet occurred. You worry about which of the various scenarios you envision might come to pass. Although careful planning might be beneficial, worrying about the future all the time drains your energy from living in the now. I want you to put your attention back on what's happening right now. Take note of the options. Instead of the far-off possibilities your mind conjures up, you may build them now. The road ahead gradually becomes apparent when you approach each day with a steady attentiveness. Before you take the next faithful step, you don't have to see the complete path. Even when the path ahead seems unclear, have faith that I am leading you. I've been by your side through every stage of your life thus far, and I'll remain by your side through the next. Be receptive to that counsel. Tell me if you're not sure. Incorporate my knowledge into your choices. As you do this, you will start to see that your confidence increases because you are aware that you are not alone in life, rather than because you have complete control over every situation. I want to share more about the path your life can follow if you let my presence lead the way. So stay with me as we continue our talk. You frequently use clocks, calendars, deadlines, and duties to measure time, my kid. Your days pass by in minutes and hours, and your plans are spread out over several weeks and months. But there's more to your life than just timetables, in my opinion. I witness your heart's seasons. I witness times when your spirit is open and times when it silently closes itself to avoid disappointment. You are standing in a moment that is more significant than you are aware of. This isn't your typical message of the day. Consider this a subtle disruption that has been purposefully put in your way. I set up this time because I am aware of the queries that have been developing within you. You've been looking for guidance. You have questioned whether the road you are taking actually leads to the tranquility you desire, even if you haven't expressed your search out loud. You have considered your life and the future with a combination of optimism and pessimism. I have been there for every one of those ideas, therefore I am very familiar with them. I don't know anything about your inner existence. I am speaking now instead of later because of this. When a dad notices he doesn't remain silent and wait for things to work themselves out, when his child is at a turning point, he moves in closer, he touches the shoulder, he speaks clearly so the child can know what's coming before moving on. I am doing that with you at the moment. I am asking you to take a moment to consider your life's course. Please take your time, accepting this invitation. Take a time to focus on it. Think about the routines that influence your days. Take note of the patterns that subtly impact the choices you make. A few of the patterns have proven useful. Without you realizing it, they have gradually sapped your vitality. Instead of feeling guilty or afraid, I want you to view those things clearly. The foundation of knowledge is awareness. You can make alternative decisions once you understand what is genuinely strengthening your spirit and what is subtly undermining it. I therefore propose that you take a moment to examine your life's rhythm honestly. Consider whether the route you are moving in the direction of the tranquility you seek. Consider whether the activities you engage in are genuinely fostering your personal development or just keeping you occupied. We don't want to bother you with these queries, they are supposed to rouse you. Living and drifting are two different things. Instead of going through life aimlessly, I want you to live with purpose. There are still chapters in your story that need to be written, and you should be fully aware of those chapters. Don't undervalue the significance of this moment can become if you give yourself permission to think carefully. Your heart is prepared to hear what it may have previously disregarded, which is why I am speaking now. The soul occasionally reaches a point when it subtly murmurs that things needs to change. You might have already started that whisper. Maybe it looked like restlessness. Maybe it manifested as a query that persisted despite your attempts to disregard it. Your spirit is looking for alignment once more in that whisper. Pay attention to it. Allow it to lead you back to the you've been lacking clarity. I am here to assist you in achieving that understanding. I am not expecting you to change everything at once. Rather, I am asking you to take the first sincere step toward living a life that truly represents who you are. Now go a little closer to me in your mind so I may talk more directly to your heart. I want you to understand how sincere I am when I say that this moment is important. Imagine a peaceful environment where a father sits next to his child and speaks quietly yet tenderly. That's the as you listen. I want you to visualize the ambience. I am not yelling across a long distance. I am near you, gently leading you through this introspection. Reflect about the previous phase of your life. Consider the recent experiences that have shaped you. There were successes that inspired you. These were setbacks that made you second-guess certain choices. These were discussions that made you feel something deep. Each of those instances contributes to a bigger picture that you might not quite understand acknowledged yet. I've been seeing how those encounters shaped your ideas. I observed your attempts to interpret them. I saw when you asked yourself in private if there was something crucial you were overlooking. Because it demonstrates that your heart is still open to development. That inquiry is valuable. I want you to maintain that transparency. You refuse to let weariness or disappointment depress you. Instead, use this as an opportunity to refocus. Join me in this contemplation and think on the opportunities that remain for you in the future. The last chapter of your life is still to come. Opportunities still exist that you are not yet aware of. In the upcoming days, you will make minor decisions that will lead to some of those opportunities. Others will emerge through relationships and situations that progressively change throughout time. Instead of hurrying past such opportunities, I want you to approach them mindfully. You start to see doors that were previously unseen when you approach life with purpose. That when you stay in touch with me, awareness increases. Every day, invite my advice into your thoughts. Let me show you the way that best suits your goals. Then notice how clarity starts to emerge in subtle ways. Seldom does guidance come as an unexpected order that compels you to make immediate changes. It usually comes through gradual, silent comprehension. Have faith in that procedure. Keep your heart open and your mind open. I am not here to put too many demands on you. I am here to accompany you on your journey and assist you in identifying the path that leads to more tranquility. To be serious about accepting this invitation, think about what you've heard. Allow the questions I pose to reverberate softly in your mind. Bring yourself back to this discussion. Whenever you see your focus shifting to things that divert you from introspection, remember that you deserve careful guidance in your life. I'll be here with you while you listen, prepared to lead you farther, as we jointly explore the next phase of this journey. There's something fragile about the passage of time in your life, so stay close to me, my kid. You frequently think that crucial choices can wait till later. When your schedule is packed and your mind is weary, it feels comfortable to put off reflection. This is how a lot of individuals lie to themselves, telling themselves that there will always be another chance to deal with the important things. However, I would like you to think carefully about something. Life doesn't stop just because you put off paying attention. The days go by in silence, and the decisions you make or don't make gradually shape the course of your life. I am talking to you today about the risk of delay because of this. I am not saying anything to scare you. I say this because I genuinely care about the journey you are taking. When a father sees his child on the verge of making a significant choice, he does not support ineffective hesitation. Rather, he asks the child to pay attentive attention to the present and react mindfully. I am inviting you to do it right now. Consider the aspects of your life where you have been delaying taking action. You may know that some conversations need take place, but you continue to ignore them because they make you uncomfortable. There can be habits that subtly deplete your energy, but don't change because it would take work to break them. Maybe you have dreams that you used to cherish, but are now only vaguely present in your mind because you are unsure on how to go after them. When these issues are not resolved, they all become more significant. The longer you put off confronting issues, the more burdensome they feel when you do. I want to relieve you of that mounting weight. Recognizing the worth of this moment is the first step toward that liberation. You don't have to address every problem right away. However, you must begin taking steps that are consistent with your higher purpose. Start by identifying the areas of your life where delay has subtly crept in. Don't too hard on yourself about it. Rather, use this understanding as a chance to change course. Imagine today what one sincere move may entail. Maybe it entails having an honest conversation with someone you can trust. It can include changing a habit that isn't beneficial to your health. Maybe it just involves making time every day for introspection and establishing a connection with myself. When small actions are taken, sincerely, they have a significant impact. To start, you don't need to make significant changes making progress. Your willingness to proceed rather than staying mired in hesitation is what counts most. Pay close attention to the inner voice that promotes development. Your heart understands the wisdom in that voice, even though it is frequently quiet. When you face it head on, you start to change your life's trajectory in ways that lead to calm and clarity. I want the change to happen to you. I want you to experience the sense of relief that comes from ceasing to avoid the changes your heart already understands that they are essential. Permit me to now gently address the fundamental reason why delay can have such a profound impact on a person's life. Your hesitancy is frequently not the result of apathy or laziness. Fear is the source of it. You could be concerned that confronting some aspects of your life will expose errors you would prefer to forget. You can be afraid of disappointing someone who is important to you. You can even be concerned that going in a different direction will result in uncertainty. These anxieties make sense since, being human, you frequently find the unknown to be frightening. However, I have a crucial message for you to hear. Fearlessness is not a prerequisite for courage. Simply said, courage encourages you to move forth with honesty even in the face of uncertainty. As you take that step, I will walk beside you. You don't have to handle change by yourself. What would your life look like if you started acting on your inner convictions instead of putting them off forever? Imagine the relief you may have if you dealt with the circumstances that have for months or possibly years it stayed in your mind in silence. Imagine the liberation that results when your behavior starts to reflect the principles you hold dear. You are not far from that freedom. Willingness is the first step. I therefore want you to make a small mental commitment right now. Declare to yourself that you will no longer disregard the subtle cues that point you in the direction of development. Make a commitment to yourself that if you see a chance to make your life better, you will take it seriously rather than ignore it. Perfection is not required for this commitment. As you progress, you could still make mistakes, but that's a necessary part of learning. Your choice to continue being involved in your own growth is what counts. Let this moment serve as the catalyst for that rekindled interest. Instead of hesitating, take charge of your life's course with assurance. Talk to me about the actions you want to take and seek advice when you don't feel like you have enough clarity. As you proceed, I will reply patiently and sensibly, looking for guidance. Recall that you are not supposed to wander aimlessly through life, waiting for things to improve on their own. You are capable of making deliberate responses, and I will encourage you to do so. Remain receptive to the opportunities that arise when you go beyond procrastination and take deliberate action. In the upcoming chapters, this discussion will continue to guide you as we examine what those options might entail. I want to talk to a part of you that most people don't see, my child. I wish to discuss your thoughts with you. It's not the portion of your mind that solves issues or finishes work during the day. Rather, it's the deeper part of your mind where you ponder when everything around you is calm. You have spent numerous evenings in that area, so you are fully aware of what I mean. Your thoughts start to take unexpected turns when the room is quiet, and everything is at last quiet. You listen to discussions again. You look back and review decisions you made years or months ago. You envision potential futures, and question if you have the strength to deal with them. You won't reveal to anyone how active that silent battlefield within your head has been. I have been by your side every time those thoughts came to mind, so I can see it plainly. I understand how draining it may be to have a mind that won't shut down. While some of your thoughts are filled with insight and introspection, others are accompanied with anxiety and uncertainty. Sometimes those uncertainties raise questions about your value, your prospects, and your capacity to overcome obstacles. When those as whispers become more audible, they may start to influence your self-perception. I want you to comprehend something crucial tonight because of this. You shouldn't believe every concept that crosses your head. Some ideas are only recollections of terror that have persisted for too long. Some are memories that still require your attention even though they are no longer useful. Others are voices you internalized from the viewpoints of those who didn't fully comprehend your emotions. I want you to stop holding those whispers inside of you, your thoughts as though they were real. Your intellect is strong, but it needs to be used wisely. Allow me to lead you through it. Now inhale deeply and focus on what you have been letting settle into your thoughts. These are the recurring patterns. When you have doubts about the future, do you notice that certain thoughts come back? These ideas might attempt to persuade you that you are incapable of conquering the challenges that lie ahead. They could bring to memory errors you wish you had addressed in a different way. They might even attempt to convince you that your life is aimless. I want you to consider such ideas with fresh perspective. Examine them rather than just accepting them. Consider if they accurately reflect who you are. You will often find that these are not reflections of reality, but rather overblown tales made out of fear. I want you to get comfortable interrupting those stories as they come up. When an idea tries to persuade you that you lack strength, confront it. Remember the challenges you have already encountered and overcome. Recall the evenings when you felt weak but made the decision to get up the following morning and carry on. Fear cannot take away the strength that is revealed in those moments. You don't realize how resilient you are. That resilience is evident to me. I am encouraging you to change the climate of your mind by speaking straight into your ideas. Don't allow uncertainty to become your loudest voice in a realm. Rather, let truth occupy its proper position there. The truth serves as a reminder that you are capable of development. The truth serves as a reminder that your value is not diminished by your missteps. Truth serves as a reminder that your story is still developing and that change is possible every day. As we continue our conversation together, keep that fact close to your heart. Now get a bit closer and pay close attention to what I have to say, because I want to show you something useful that can change the way your mind feels at ease. Your mind wasn't designed to be a location where concern keeps coming up. It was intended to be a space where contemplation leads to comprehension, and where optimism might flourish. Your ability to grow is hampered when anxiety becomes entangled in your thoughts. For this reason, I want you to develop the silent discipline of controlling your ideas instead of letting them control you. This may seem straightforward, but with practice it has amazing power. Continuously. Start by scheduling brief pauses throughout the day. During those times, focus inward and observe your thoughts. Don't pass judgment on the ideas you discover there. Just take a quick look at them. Gently shift your focus to something grounded if you find that worry has taken over. Talk to me while you're rewaiting. Tell me the truth about what's bothering you. Some of the power of those thoughts to overwhelm you is diminished when you discuss them with me. Your nervous mind cannot generate perspective on its own, presence does. Think of your ideas as waves on a water's surface. Those waves become erratic and chaotic when a storm hits. However, there is always a deeper, still, calm layer beneath the water surface. When the surface becomes turbulent, I want you to learn how to go down into that deeper layer. Your connection to me is located in a deeper place. It is the aspect of you that is at ease even when the situation is still unclear. The storms in your mind start to fade when you practice going back there on a regular basis. Your perspective will no longer be entirely controlled by worry, but it may still occasionally surface. Rather than a persistent ailment, you will identify it as a transient disruption. As you continue to practice awareness and trust, this change may not occur right away. Every time you decide to focus on the truth rather than fear, you fortify your life's basis of tranquility. I want you to start practicing that right now. Take a moment right now to talk to me in private about whatever is most important to you. Don't censor what you say. Express your worries just as they are. After then, give yourself permission to sit quietly for a short while. When you give those concerns over to me, notice the gradual serenity that starts to emerge. That serenity is real. It is the start of a new approach of existence, one in which there is clarity, instead of confusion in your thinking. Join me in this discussion because you will find the strength that has always been inside of you. The more you learn to direct your thoughts with intention. I want to talk to you about something that has influenced your life more than you know. So stay with me, my kid. You've made it a practice to carry out your duties in silence. You frequently intervene when others need support. And you voluntarily do it because you have a strong concern for people. You see when someone else is having difficulties because you have a kind heart. One of the lovely aspects of who you are is that trait. You don't often discuss the other aspect of this practice, though. Sometimes you put all the responsibility on yourself in an attempt to aid others. You convince yourself that you have to manage everything without displaying vulnerability. You persuade yourself that seeking assistance would simply make things more difficult for the others in your immediate vicinity. This way of thinking has quietly put pressure on your life over time. In ways that others find admirable, you have become stronger. However, same power has also caused you to feel isolated when you needed solace. I can easily see those moments. I am aware of the evenings when you hoped someone could truly comprehend what was inside of you. I am aware of the moments when you understood that everyone in the room was counting on you to stay the strong one. It might be burdensome to have that expectation, particularly when your own rest is necessary for the heart. Today, I want you to comprehend something crucial. You weren't supposed to live a lonely life carrying all the weight. Being strong does not entail cutting yourself off from help. Honesty, connection, and shared accountability are all made possible by true strength. This is true for your relationship with me as well as your relationships with other people. You weren't made to bear the burden of your existence alone. I made you to walk with me and share your worries with me, and to let my presence help you in ways that human power cannot. You've attempted to handle your difficulties in silence on numerous occasions. You think talking about them could make you seem weak or unsure. However, something profound occurs when you share your difficulties with me. Weight starts to change. The once overwhelming pressure begins to ease. I want that release to happen to you more frequently. Start by admitting that you don't must demonstrate your strength by consistently enduring. Rather, give yourself permission to feel the relief that comes from expressing your burdens. Tell me honestly about the obligations in your life that make you feel burdened. Tell me where you feel overextended. Be honest and invite me to those locations. By doing this, you make room in your life for fresh vigor. My assistance doesn't take the place of your work, but it makes it easier for you to proceed without giving up the burden of all you have to deal with. I want you to think about what your life may be like if you really came to terms with the fact that you don't have to manage everything by yourself. Imagine waking up tomorrow with the peaceful knowledge that someone stronger than you is walking with you in every circumstance. Consider how you might handle the issues that lie ahead differently as a result of that insight. Rather of believing that every issue is solely dependent on your capacity to resolve it, you would start viewing life as a partnership. You would realize that strength and direction are at your disposal whenever you ask for them. The mental climate of your entire life is altered by this seemingly insignificant adjustment. You find a new type of resilience when you stop carrying everything on your own. Because your heart is no longer under constant pressure, it becomes lighter. You can approach obligations with more patience and clarity thanks to that freedom. You should start putting this approach into practice right now. The next time anything in your life overwhelms you, stop for a moment instead of moving forward mindlessly. Turn to face me and be honest about what's going on. Seek wisdom in managing the circumstance. When your emotions start to surge, ask for calm. When the issue seems bigger than you can comprehend, ask for a different viewpoint. In those moments, I will be there to provide you with wisdom that develops gradually as you keep moving forward. Occasionally, that direction will manifest as a subtle realization that arises in your mind. Occasionally, it will come from someone's unexpected words of encouragement. At other instances, it will show up as things start to change in unexpected ways. I can help in a variety of ways. However, it always starts with your readiness to extend an invitation to me. So start that invitation right now. When you feel the weight of life bearing down on your soul, don't hesitate. Rather, approach me with trust and honesty. Permit your burdens to be shared rather than concealed in my presence. You'll find that when strength comes from connection rather than loneliness, it grows more organically. As we proceed on this adventure together, stay close. Because the more you realize that you are not alone, the more assuredly you will enter the following phases of your life. Hear this also, my child, as you let go of the burden you were never supposed to bear alone. The message that you are currently receiving is not intended to end with you. I am raising voices and vessels all over the world so that weary people hiding in the shadows can hear what I have to say and know they are not alone. The link to help this project by PayPal, channel membership, or super thanks may be found in the video description. In a field of souls awaiting illumination, you are sowing a seed. I responded, those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. In order for others to return to me, each donation serves as oil in the lamp that keeps this message burning. My soul is stirring within you and encouraging you to participate in this effort if you sense a quiet yearning to assist. I will multiply what you release in trust like seeds strewn into fruitful ground, returning to you with unexpected favor, protection, and provision. Don't let this calling pass you by. Now is the time to sow your seed so that my message might reach the waiting souls. Stay with me, my kid, because when you turn to face the road you have traveled, I want you to see something. Your life has not been an aimless, haphazard series of occurrences. There were little moments that held significance, even during the times when you felt lost. At the time, some of those moments felt typical. Others found it perplexing or even annoying. However, I perceive them differently when I consider your path. They are, in my opinion, subtle cues positioned along your route. You may recall specific days when plans abruptly transformed in unexpected ways. A door that you thought would stay open closed. A discussion changed the way you thought. What you believed to be the ideal timing was disrupted by a delay. Those moments seemed inconvenient or disappointing at the time. You questioned why things were not going as you had hoped. I want you to stop right now and think about those experiences from a different angle. What if those disruptions weren't at all barriers? What if they were instructions put in front of you so you wouldn't stray too far in the wrong direction? I am aware of both the paths that gradually deplete your spirit and the ones that lead to growth. I discreetly rerouted your steps when you got close to particular roads that would have caused you needless suffering. There were moments when that diversion seemed like a lost chance. At other instances, it seemed like an unplanned pause that made you reevaluate your actions. I am aware of how unpleasant those pauses were. You like to move and advance. It can seem like standing in the middle of a road with no idea where to go next. However, those quiet times had a purpose. They made room for introspection. They made it possible for you to see details that you may have overlooked while moving swiftly. Now I want you to reflect on those pivotal moments with a new perspective. Consider the times when an inner voice told you that a particular choice didn't feel right. That silent uncertainty was not weakness, despite the fact that everything around you seemed to support it. It was your soul, reacting to instructions. Unbeknownst to you, you listen a lot. You were able to stay away from circumstances that might have diverted you from the life you were supposed to lead because of your willingness to listen. Even if you didn't fully comprehend those subtle cues, I am proud of the way you followed them. You were shielded by those decisions in ways that weren't immediately apparent. I want you to start seeing those indications more clearly now. The next time they show up, don't rush by them. When you sense a gentle inner reminder to slow down, take a seat, think things over, and pay attentively, take a step back. Consider why you are experiencing that emotion. Bring me into that contemplative moment. Dramatic events are not always the source of my direction. It frequently manifests as subtle impressions that subtly divert your focus. You start navigating life with more awareness once you learn to identify such impressions. Therefore, I'd like to encourage you to start paying attention to the little cues that come up during the day. Keep an eye out for the times when your soul becomes exceptionally vigilant. Observe when a thought keeps coming back to you, urging you to take a closer look. These encounters are not coincidental. They are a part of the dialogue that has been going on between us all your life. Now give yourself permission to think more carefully about how those indicators have influenced your current identity. Imagine strolling at nightfall along a woodland trail. The track is not always clear and the light is fading. However, lanterns are positioned at specific points along the path points. Just enough of the trail is illuminated by each candle to direct the subsequent step. That path has resembled your own. You might have hoped for full daylight to illuminate the entire path ahead, but instead you were given lanterns that just showed the next section of the road. Those lanterns served as guiding moments. Occasionally they emerged through a discussion that caused you to reevaluate your priorities. Sometimes they showed up as an epiphany that something in your life needed to be adjusted. Other times they come as a result of events that abruptly altered your course. You can proceed with more comprehension, thanks to each of those lanterns. I want you to stop doubting that process and start believing in it. To walk with confidence, you don't have to see the whole future. Today, pay attention to the light that appears in front of you. Proceed with awareness. Refocus on the advice that is already in your life when uncertainty tries to divert you. Request that I light up the next section of the walkway instead of insisting on seeing the whole trip all at once. That strategy will keep your heart rooted in confidence rather than fear. Additionally, I want you to understand that your readiness to pay attention to those subtle cues has been molding your personality in ways that go beyond your own life. You have empathy for people who are unsure about their route because of your experiences. You know what it's like to be at a fork in the road and not know which direction to go. This comprehension will enable you to help uplift those who deal with comparable issues in their own life. Your narrative will eventually serve as a source of support for someone else in need of confidence. That's one of the ways your path becomes more meaningful than just personal development. I want you to keep following the indications that come your way, because they will continue to point you in the direction of the life I have planned for you long before you know it. When they approach in silence, do not dismiss them. Accept them as a part of the continuing dialogue between us, and be honest with me if you are unsure about the meaning of a certain signal. As you keep moving forward with an open heart, I will lead your comprehension step by step. There are questions in your heart that need to be answered honestly, so stay here with me, my child. You may not always express them out loud, but you are more likely than you know to have doubts about your purpose, direction, and if the life you are leading is fulfilling. Building will actually help you achieve your desired level of fulfillment. During times of introspection, these questions emerge subtly. They come to the surface when you observe others following their own courses and start contrasting your own with theirs. These comparisons can occasionally make you question whether you are lagging behind or overlooking anything crucial. I can see why those ideas come to mind. Anyone who lives in a constantly moving world may start to doubt their own pace. However, I would prefer that you approach those questions with curiosity instead of more than dread. Asking questions is not a show of weakness. They are indications that your mind is looking for more profound comprehension. You can gain significant insight from those queries if you don't rush to put an end to them. I therefore want you to honestly acknowledge them immediately. Beyond what other people expect of you, consider what you really want out of life. Consider the pursuits that give you a feeling of direction. Think about the times when you feel most in sync with the person you wish to be. These contemplations provide insightful hints regarding the path that speaks to your soul. Don't write them off just because they don't fit the path you have in mind for yourself. Sometimes the most genuine form of your calling is revealed by the unexpected turns that life takes. Instead of ignoring those questions, I want you to allow yourself to investigate them. Spend some time sitting with them. If writing them down makes them easier to see, then do so, obviously. Discuss them with me in the same way that you would with a reliable advisor seated next to you. Tell me where you are unsure. Talk about the aspirations you are afraid to voice because they feel too delicate. I won't be let down by your honesty. Actually, it will make our relationship stronger. By inviting me to participate in the process of posing those questions, you enable wisdom to enter the discussion in ways that are impossible for your intellect to generate on its own. Through insight and introspection, that wisdom frequently emerges gradually. You might observe that as you continue to investigate what really matters to you, answers start to take shape. These responses won't always be straightforward guidelines. Rather, they will develop as you become increasingly clear about the kind of life you want to lead and the principles you want to direct your choices. When that insight comes, I want you to embrace it. Allow it to influence your future decisions. Now pause and consider the idea that some of the questions you have been asking were purposefully planted in your heart. Think about the concept that your interest in purpose is not coincidental, but rather an indication that there is significance in your life, just waiting to be found. You weren't made just to kill time or do the same thing over and over again. Only you possess the special potential that comes with your existence. You are being invited to move closer to that potential as those more profound questions start to arise in your mind. Approach things with an open mind rather than avoiding them. Let them help you become more conscious of who you are evolving. I also want you to keep in mind that finding your mission is rarely an epiphany that provides all the answers at once. More often than not, it evolves through a sequence of events that progressively show where your passions and strengths converge. Observe the times when assisting someone else in overcoming an obstacle gives you a boost of energy. After making a significant contribution, take note of when you have a deep sense of fulfillment. These instances provide as clues on how your skills can serve others in the best possible way. When you identify them, pause to consider what made the encounter feel meaningful. Consider how you could make your life more impactful in that way. You can progressively get closer to your desired goal by making small changes to the way you spend your time. I'll keep helping you while you investigate these options. You don't have to find every solution right away. Rather, make a commitment to staying alert and inquisitive. Allow your instead than pressuring people to draw hasty decisions, questions stay alive. Your life's path will become more apparent with each step you take as you keep listening, thinking, and acting on the revelations. Keep your distance from this discussion between us because the more openly you address the questions in your heart, the more assuredly you will approach the future that lies ahead. This portion of our chat touches on something profound, so stay with me and pay close attention, my kid inside of you. There have been moments when you have secretly questioned whether your life is as important as you would like it to be. You've gone through times when it appeared like no one was paying attention to what you were doing, when the outcomes of your efforts seemed to be less than you anticipated, and when you were questioned by those around you about whether you were doing enough. If you allow those thoughts to continue unchecked, they have the potential to gradually alter your self-perception. I am aware that there have been times when you have felt as though you have made less progress than other people, as if you were motionless while the world continued on without you. These comparisons have the power to persuade you that your worth is determined solely by your outward accomplishments. I want you to take a moment to reevaluate that belief. Lists of achievements or the rate at which you are progressing cannot quantify the value of your life. I see you in a different light than how the rest of the world defines success. I see someone who perseveres through trying times when I look at you. I notice the silent empathy you have for others who come into your life. Even when it would have been simpler to become frustrated, there are times when you choose to be patient rather than angry. These characteristics show the real essence of who you are developing into. Even while they might not always draw attention from others, they have a significant impact on your life's narrative. Just because those times are silent doesn't mean you should undervalue their importance. In regions where adulation seldom reaches, character frequently develops. I would like you to pause for a moment and consider the circumstances in which you showed generosity despite your weariness. Recall the instances in which you assisted someone without anticipating praise. These were hardly insignificant acts. They were manifestations of the virtue that resides within your heart. You miss the more profound influence you have on those around you when you gauge your life solely by outward achievements. More people are impacted by your presence in this world than you may be aware. A chat you had with someone has given them encouragement. After watching, someone has found hope again. Despite your difficulties, you keep going forward. Quietly, these moments combine to create a pattern of influence that extends beyond the visible. I want you to start using that broader perspective to see the value of your life. Give up using fleeting comparisons to gauge your worth. Instead, take note of how your character is evolving every day. Growth does not always manifest as a significant shift. At times, it manifests as a consistent fortification of your soul. You're growing steadily even if you're not sure how far you've come. Have faith in that procedure. Don't condemn yourself too soon. Instead, let it happen. I now want you to consider more closely how your life fits into a bigger picture than you may have thought. Each individual has a distinct set of experiences, skills, and viewpoints. The lessons you've learned, the pathways you've taken, and the compassion you've developed as a result of your hardships have all created your tale. These components create a pattern that is exclusively yours. You contribute a unique viewpoint to the world that no one else can match. That individuality is a component of your mission. The world does not require you to emulate the achievements of others. It requires you to convey the genuineness of your personal experience. The impulse to emulate others begins to loosen its hold on your thoughts as you start to value reality. You start investigating the options that fit your own skills rather than following the path of someone else. I want you to give me a hug, that bold exploration. Instead of doubting yourself, examine your skills with sincere interest. Consider the issues you are drawn to address, the things you are naturally passionate about, and the ways you naturally assist those around you. These tendencies are not coincidental. They serve as markers for the areas in which your life can have a significant influence. Instead of dismissing them because you're afraid they won't help you succeed, let them gently guide you. Your life gains value not because although it takes a popular route, it does so because it conveys integrity and truth. The impact of such a life is significantly more than what is immediately measurable. You might not be able to see every life you come into contact with. However, the effect is still present. Your self-perception shifts as you start living from that awareness. You begin to realize that your life already matters and cease to wonder if it does. As we continue our discussion, I want you to cling to that insight. Allow it to boost your self-assurance when doubts try to come back. If you ever doubt your value again, take a moment to reflect on this. Remember that your life has significance that goes beyond what accomplishments might convey. Whenever you have doubts, talk to me about them. Ask me to assist you in viewing your life from the perspective of truth, instead of the limited conclusions that comparison leads to. The value that has been developing inside of you all along will become even more apparent in the upcoming chapters of your tale. Remain receptive to that unfolding. Keep moving forward with confidence and humility, believing that your life has meaning that will only grow as you stay true to the person you are growing into. Please stay with me, my child, for we must discuss something that has been subtly influencing your heart for a longer period of time than you may be aware. You've had painful moments that were never given the proper attention. Some of those injuries were caused by careless remarks made by someone you trusted. Others came via circumstances where you felt ignored or misinterpreted. When those events occurred, you made an effort to move on swiftly. You convinced yourself that concentrating on them would only make matters more difficult. In the hopes that the pain would finally go away, you continued to work while pushing it into a corner of your heart. However, certain wounds do not go away just because time goes by. They stay under the surface and affect how you react to novel circumstances. It's possible that you have observed this occurring subtly. A fresh connection serves as a reminder. You are reminded of an old disappointment, and before you know why, your guard goes up. A simple remark from someone reminds you of criticism you've received in the past. You may be confused by these reactions because the circumstances may not warrant such a strong reaction. In actuality, your heart retains memories of past experiences. There is unreleased emotional weight associated with those recollections. I want you to comprehend a crucial aspect of that weight. You weren't supposed to take it by yourself. Unresolved pain gradually alters your perception of yourself and other people. It can make vulnerability seem hazardous and trust seem risky. You may eventually become estranged from individuals who truly care about you as a result of those emotions. I don't want the connections you have ahead of you to be constrained by your past hurts. For this reason, I am extending an invitation to you to share those secret pains with me right now. Don't be scared to honestly acknowledge them. You don't have to act fake. They didn't matter. If something caused you great pain, it should be acknowledged. Describe the events that are still fresh in your mind. Talk about the remarks that made you doubt your value. Describe the times you felt misinterpreted or abandoned. Those memories start to lose their hold on your heart when you discuss them with me. When the truth takes the place of quiet, healing starts. I want you to let that healing begin right now. Let your integrity serve as the entryway. It causes the areas that have been plagued by suffering for far too long to eventually return to peace. As we move on to the next phase of comprehending what it means to remove that weight, pay close attention. Pretending that unpleasant events never occurred is not the definition of healing. It entails letting those encounters change your heart without holding it captive. Forgiveness is one of the most effective elements in that process. I am aware that it can be challenging to recall the ways in which you have been harmed by others. What is not excused by forgiveness occurred, and it does not lessen the severity of the injury. Rather, forgiving releases your heart from being stuck in the same painful situation indefinitely. You cease letting the past control how your relationships develop in the future when you decide to forgive. This decision might not be made right away. Sometimes forgiveness develops gradually as you keep sharing your suffering with me. Start by admitting that you desire to be free of the resentment that suffering can bring. Let me know if you reopen to moving, even if the route seems strange, in the direction of healing. You will see that the severity of those old wounds steadily lessens as you do this. Memories that used to make you angry will become less acute. Your past is not erased by this change. Rather, it gives you the courage to tell your experience without letting it dictate how you do it. I want you to feel that power. Imagine what it would be like to reflect on your past without the same intense feelings associated with it. Imagine being free to pursue new connections without worrying that the past may recur. When forgiveness is incorporated into the healing process, that freedom is made attainable. Step by step, let that freedom into your life. Bring painful memories to me rather than allowing them to replay themselves in your mind. Let me lead your heart to comprehension and liberation. You'll see that resentment gradually gives way to compassion. Your heart will feel lighter as a result of it is letting go of the suffering that used to characterize such recollections. I assure you that even long-standing wounds may heal. Keep your mind open to that option. Let this be the start of a new chapter in your life, where your heart learns to let go of the things it has been carrying on its own. As we continue this discussion, you will learn that letting go of the grief of the past makes room for greater serenity and more solid relationships in the future. You already know, my child, that part of the suffering you endured did not go away just because time went by. I want to walk you through the next phase now. I want you to start letting go of the burdens that have been silently following you for a long time. Consider the feelings of a traveler who has to walk a long distance while carrying a big backpack. The weight looks doable at the start of the trip. The traveler continues to trek, trusting that their own strength will get them the rest of the way. But that weight gets heavier every mile. In the end, the traveler reaches a point when it becomes challenging to move forward. At that point, it would not be wise to demonstrate persistence by enduring further misery. Setting the burden down is a sensible decision. In the same way, your heart has been bearing emotional burdens. A portion of it resulted from disillusionment. A portion of it originated from criticism you got when you were at your weakest. A portion of it sprang from expectations you set for yourself that weren't intended to determine your value. Over time, such obligations slowly developed. Additionally, because you continued to walk without pausing to assess how heavy they had grown, demonstrating your strength. Right now, I want you to perform something crucial. Take a moment to recognize the burden you have been bearing. Don't hurry past it. Allow yourself to see it clearly. Think about the memories that still cause your chest to constrict when they come up out of the blue. When your mind wanders late at night, take note of the regret you occasionally revisit. These emotions indicate that you still need to let go of something inside your heart. I am not asking you to act fake. Those were simple encounters. To stop them from taking over your emotional world, I am asking you to entrust them to my care. Start by being open and honest with me about the burdens you are aware of. Tell me where you're feeling worn out. Tell me which memories feel unresolved. You start the process of letting them go when you talk about them honestly. Release doesn't usually occur all at once. However, willingness is the first step in the process. Just by remaining here, you have already demonstrated that desired dialogue. Now give yourself permission to envision what it would be like to go through life without having to deal with those painful memories all the time. Imagine your thoughts getting lighter as a result of letting go of all the unpleasant memories from your past. That independence is not unattainable. When you decide to let go of the burden you were never supposed to bear, there is a genuine potential waiting for you. I now want you to inhale more deeply and think about the usefulness of this discharge. Giving up is not something it is brought about by denial. It is the result of deliberate choice. You make the decision that the things that have damaged you in the past should not take precedence over your future. Recognize the reappearance of an old memory without allowing it to alter your viewpoint. Remember that although the past has shaped you, it does not own you. Then carefully shift your focus to what you can construct right now. Because your mind has become accustomed to hearing those old stories again, this technique may initially feel strange. However, each time you decide, you can lessen the influence such memories have on you by turning your attention from reliving agony to healing. I want you to deliberately practice this. The next time you find yourself thinking about regret or resentment, take a brief break. Talk to me about it. Declare unequivocally that you are prepared to let go of the weight associated with that memory. Invite me to be strengthened during that decision-making process. You will start to notice a little shift occurring. Even while the memories is still present, the emotional burden tied to it will gradually disappear.